Hi, my name is Pam with MA Crafts, and today I'm going to be building two cutting boards, and it's a secret, so don't tell anyone. I'm making two, one for my niece who just had a birthday, and one for my daughter who's having a birthday tomorrow. They may not get them exactly on their birthday, but they're going to get them, and I hope they love them. I'm using maple, and I'm using walnut, and I'm also using cherry wood. So the plan is to make one large one and then be able to cut that in half and make two out of it. So saves me a little time, and we'll see how it goes from there. So as you can see, I've got three pieces of wood here. This is the cherry, this one's the walnut, and this is the maple. The maple looks like I'll be able to use at least a little over half of the board. This part here is not going to work, so as you can probably see, I'm not going to be able to use this. I could use some of this, but the walnut is actually okay to use. It's like 20, I needed 24 at least to be able to cut them in that part into 2/12. We're 26 and a half, so I don't really have to do anything with this one as far as the miter saw goes. But for these other two, I don't want to waste it, so I'm only going to cut off, in order to give us 24, I'm going to do 26 just to give me a little extra to work with. And I'm going to do the same on the maple, but I'm probably going to cut off a little bit more this way so I can get more of this board. So looks like I've got a spot that I could probably go to and be okay. So that's like 32. And if I want 25, 26, take that away. So we're like 16. So if I go down and knock off, let's see, again, got 32. I want 24, or 25, 26. Let's say 26 from, that's only 6. So I'm going to cut off the first 6, and then we add that back in to the 26. That should be 32, which would be right where we want it. So I'm going to cut that part off just because, like I said, there's not a lot that I can use down here. And then I'm going to cut it at the 32. So let's begin cutting. Now, where did I put my headset? Well, wouldn't you know it, it's under the board. Okay, now that we've cut the boards to the length I want, we're going to go back, and I'm thinking one strip. Change my mind, I'm going to just do strips, 1 inch for each of these. I can get approximately 6 out of the maple, I'll get 7 out of the cherry, and about 6 out of the walnut. So that'll give me, 25. So it'll give me, well, not 25, it'll give me 19, which is 1 inch larger than I was going for. So, that's going to be a good starting place. So I've already set the table saw to 1 inch strips. So I'm going to just run it through and cut all these down to 1 inch and take it from there. Not real sure what happened to the last clip that I tried to film, but I don't believe I got any of these on video where I cut them. But basically I cut them at 1 inch, and in some cases on the ends I cut just a little bit off so they'd be all smooth around. And now we're just going to place them out. We've got, looks like enough boards that we will be able to make the cutting boards. And this one looks to be a little bit shorter, so I may keep this one to the side. And then the maple, got 6 of those. And then we've got, ended up with 6, but one's shorter, but that's okay. I think we can make this work. And if I get the tape measure to see, we've got 17 and a quarter, so not quite 18, but you know, I'm sure my niece and daughter will be just fine with 17 and a half. And then for this length, we're gonna have, looks like we've got an easy 24, well, 26, so I can cut these in half so that I can make 2. So now it's just a matter of how we want to lay them out. I'm thinking I'd like to maybe start with the maple and then maybe a cherry and then walnut. So I think this will look nice when it's done. We should be able to, like I said, make 2 out of this. That's the plan. So as long as the shortest one, might have to adjust these a little, but now we just need to get some glue and glue them together. So I'm not really sure what happened to the last video I tried to do on gluing these together, but you can see, probably get the idea. I just laid them out on this on the 2 clamps to start with, and then I put the glue in between it using this the Titebond 3. So I put glue in between it, and then I put clamps on it, and basically needs to sit now. So we're going to let it sit overnight and then pick this up again tomorrow. Sorry about the last video, it just didn't come through for some reason, but it really was just typically laying the boards down and putting glue on the one side and then sticking together and go the next piece and so forth. So sorry again about that. I don't know what happened, but anyway, we'll let this dry overnight and we'll pick it up tomorrow. Now that the glue has dried, we're going to take the clamps off. And one thing I did notice, I have a planer that only will do 12 inches wide. And since this is obviously wider than 12, we're going to have to, before I plane the whole thing, I'm going to have to cut it in half anyway. So I'm going to go as close to the edge as I can get on both sides. And so I'm using this cool little pin. It writes underwater, does all kinds of things. My sister sent this to me, so we're going to use this today. Now let's see what we have on our measurements. So it looks like we have approximately 25 and a half. So we can do, you know, 12 and a half and 12 and a half. That's 25. So we can do 25. We'll do 12 and a half. And just whatever the other side is will be fine. So for now, we're just going to cut these ends off. And then I'll find the middle, and cut down the middle, and then we'll be able to use the planer after that. So we'll move this over to my sled and cut it on the edge. Change camera angle, give you a little better view. Electricity would help. Let's go ahead and cut off these 2 edges and then find the middle. Now that both edges have been cut, we can do a measurement to see exactly how much we do have. And then, like I said, split that down the middle to make the 2 boards. We're at 25, about 25 and a quarter. So like I said, 12 and a half plus maybe 2/8. But 12 and a half should do it. So we'll mark this at 12 and a half. And then we'll make this one more cut, and then it should be able to fit in our planer. Let's see how well we cut it. 12 and a half. I mean, 12 and a half, and like I said, maybe 2/8. Not 2/8, 1/8. And then the length of going the other way is looking at 17 and a quarter, a little over 17 and a quarter. I think this will make a nice cutting board. They look like they're, looks like pretty good size, pretty thick. I like it, so let's go to the planer. Lesson learned. I lost a little bit of this board, and the other one, I lost basically the whole thing. I might can make little ones out of it, but anyway, that's a lesson learned. And next time I do these, I'm going to have to make basically the width 12 or less, and this the 18. So anyway, that's just something I learned today. So it's smooth enough now to at least, I'm going to have to cut this edge off because it's not a square. And then after I cut the edge off, then I can get my hand sander and get it a little bit even more smooth. So down to 1 cutting board, but it's a price to pay to learn learning how to do this, at least for me. So we'll cut this edge, sand it, and then go from there. Now we'll take what cutting board we have left and use the hand sander on this. So I currently have 3 different sandpapers. I probably should have more in between, but this is what I've got. So we're going to start with the lower end and work our way up to the more fine. This is 60. So we're going to start with 60, and then I've got a 120 and a 150. So we'll start with the 60 first. Starting to feel a lot smoother, and now what I'd like to do is get a cloth and the alcohol, rub it down to get rid of some of the dust that we've collected, and then go with the 150 grit sandpaper. So this is the alcohol we'll be using on it. give that a few more minutes. I don't think, again, won't take long, but let's give it a few minutes before so it can completely dry. And then we'll do another sand and see where we are at that point. And if it's getting smoother, it's already smoother, but let's give it a couple of minutes to dry. Okay, so even though I had to mess up in the planer and learned a valuable lesson, so don't do what I did. And I found my other cutting board I did a while back. I'm going to go ahead and clean it up and get it ready because I never really quite finished it. So I did end up with this board. It's not a huge board, but you know, it'll still be good for cutting limes or something little, so I'll still use it. It's not going to go to waste, so we'll do that one too. So now I'm going to switch the sandpaper to the highest that I have available, which is the 150. And then sand these again. And then after that, I can go to the next step. Another mistake. I think I'm using the wrong paper here, and I went too low again. So let's get the right paper. Things you learn. These all feel pretty good. The one thing I did on this one is I've already put a little edge on it with the router tool. So I'll be doing the same on these, but for now, let's move on to the next step, which I should probably go ahead and do the router before I add any kind of finishing on this. So we'll do that next. So let's go ahead and put the edging on it, and let's hope that there's no more mistakes in this. Okay, so for this one, I don't know if you can see it very well, but it's got a nice little edge on it that goes all the way around on both sides. So I'm pretty happy with it, and I think we'll keep it. So let's do the other one. Again, I think this one turned out well too. It feels really nice and smooth with this edge on it. So yeah, so we got at least 2 cutting boards out of this deal. And then of course my third one that I want to redo. So let me clean up this mess and then we'll go to the next step. Now that I've cleaned up my mess, I went ahead and added water to a rag and wiped these down with the water, because when you add the water, what happens to the grain, it kind of lifts up. So this one is a little still now rough because of the water, which is what I want. And the same thing on this side. Excuse me. And same with this one. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add a final sanding to both of these boards. This one, I've already done it a few times, and it actually feels the way I want it to. It's very smooth. But these other two definitely need it. And then what we'll do on top of that, once it dries, we'll add this butcher block, which this is it's safe for foods and things like that. So this is good to add. And then on top of that, we'll add this butcher block conditioner. And then it'll be pretty much done. So I'm going to go ahead and sand these two, and then we'll start applying the butcher block. Okay, so these are both really smooth now. That's where all these flies are coming from. So I like this. I like this way it feels. This one, same thing, very smooth. I like it. And obviously the third one I like too. It's smooth. So let's go ahead and apply the butcher block. Okay, so now I'm going to use the painter's triangles to flip them over to the front. That should do it for this first coat, and then we'll see how it looks when this dries, if we need another one of this one, or if we can just go ahead and put the conditioner on it. So the last thing I will probably do is I have a stamp or a wood burning tool that I can stamp my logo on it, and they'll be good to go. So I'd like to say, you know, happy birthday to my daughter and my niece. Not sure which one of you are going to get what, but there's one coming in your future. Thank you for watching. What I learned doing the cutting boards. Well, first off, I learned that my planer is not wide enough to fit an 18-inch board. So I had to kind of improvise it. So I turned it, but the problem with turning it, the boards were running all the wrong way for the cutter. And basically I broke the cutting board in half. So I was able to salvage half of it, but learning that I do either need a larger planer or I'm going to have to do it all by hand. So that was not the greatest. The sanding it down was good. I think the overall quality of it looks good. I got a lot of tips from other people. So all in all, I'm very happy with them. Again, they're my prototypes. So I'm very happy they turned out very well. So I will do those again soon. And remember, make right.